Okay, welcome back to another game showcase. Today we will talk about Aethermancer. Aethermancer is a creature tamer roguelike game. So essentially you set together a team of creatures and all of them have different abilities and you level them up as you go through a run. And they have different upgrade palms, randomized abilities that you can choose from on each level. And effectively speaking, you just create like Rube Goldberg machines with loads of effects that trigger off each other, and like the longer the run goes, the crazier your incremental systems go. Currently just walking through the hub area. This is where you can like get some permanent upgrades. This current character you can effectively unlock starting characters. So basically I just got a new creature that I can now start the run with instead of choosing the one that I had before. This character will sell you a few items that you can use, like additional resources. Like in addition to your creature's move, you can also make a trainer move. You always start with a healing flask, and you can just upgrade this here. Is what I'm doing. Basically, just gives you like 3 free heals per stage. If you find a good time link for this. And we are going with the Warden in this one. I'm not going to nickname any of them because I'm currently playing with controller. And the idea is that effectively set together a team. On each new stage you can add 1 creature to your team. Maximum of creatures you can play with is 3. And when you get 3, you can revive some if one of them dies on these shrines as well, or exchange them for another one if you want to switch it up. And all of these creatures have special abilities. They start with one, so in this case we have an ability that purges Aether and one that just deals damage. The other one is really good at staggering, and this one has an ability that gets stronger the more Aether you purge. What's exactly Aether is what we will talk about in the first combat. But first we have an NPC here. Each stage has some event that you can interact with. In this case it's a type of merchant. Effectively allows you to either improve your creatures or re-roll one of the actions that they had before. There's a huge variety of them in this game, so every time you get in this new stage you get a new utility ability or power up increase in addition to the usual fights. You can just walk around the map and effectively explore it until you find the exit, and can obviously start fights. So, for the fundamental fight rules you have these Aether mechanics, which is what you can see on the top corner of the screen, which is effectively your resource for using special moves. If you don't have the resource, you have to use a basic attack, ability effects, and also just because of the creatures that you have on the field. So at the start of each turn you get new ones depending on which creatures you have. And in addition to this, we have this stagger bar next to the enemy. So this bird has a red stagger bar, which means it correlates to fire moves. If you manage to hit it with 3 separate instances of damage with fire attacks, it will get staggered, and this results in it effectively skipping its next turn. This would also allow you to capture it and then use it in your run from this point onward. Essentially the entire system is around powering up your creatures as you go along, and you get random selection of traits and abilities as they level up, which effectively makes every run feel unique because you set up new build type. In this case I'm going around these Aether purging strategies because both of my creatures tend to be kinda good at that. And I just got something that essentially allows me to stagger my enemies when I'm starting to purge Aether. And then at the end of each stage you have this 3 option selection that you... looks like I've been selecting to go for another fight. See that I get some starting Aether depending on my creature, so Wind 1 and Fire 1. And this allows me to use this wind ability. Wind ability will remove 1 Aether from the enemy. This limits the amount of moves they can do, so you know they both go back to their basic attacks. It's actually a really cool version of turn-based concept if you think about it. Like, you showcase the resource enemies have ahead of time, and you showcase what moves they can do, and then the player can make active decisions about which abilities to disrupt and which ones do you let through. And you always have like two angles for doing that. You could do this via stagger, you can also do this via removing the ether elements. There are also other elements like stacking dodge on a character and then forcing enemies to attack it, or making one character super tanky and doing the same thing. And in general, the game has like a huge selection of different buffs, like very unique ones as well. Like, you talk about like effectively this like dodge mechanic, which is more straightforward, but there's also something like redirect, which is effectively like a unit taking a hit from another. There is something called sidekick, which effectively makes your unit attack like conjoined with other allies that are attacking. So if a unit has the sidekick bonus, it can like follow up on any allied attacks on someone. So there are quite a few really interesting abilities that all of them kind of like create this incremental scaling where one ability plays off each other, and then because everything triggers like based on similar effects, you create like a large variety of different loops that effectively just allow you to, in this case, like, I stagger more enemies the more I purchase the ether, and then later on I will get access to things that purchase more ether the more I attack, and attacking will also allow you to stagger enemies, and then you can chain this back by having something that like purchase ether for you staggering enemies, and then they kind of feed off each other. Here we go to the knight, which is one of the three options that were possible to us. The knight just allows you to like get a new item on unit, and items just give you additional abilities on your creature, like more passive effects. And we add the Grimoire to our like selection of creatures here. Grimoire has a specific ability that like ramps up different abilities on use into a form of ultimate ability. So once you've used certain abilities of certain types, you will get access to that. That being said, we are selecting this here because it synergizes well with our Purge Ether mechanic, not necessarily because of its special ability. I think that's really neat with many of these NPCs is they have a fundamental main purpose. So the knight gives you the ability to pick an item, but most of them have like a fallback. So if you don't want to pick an item, you can just take money. In this case, we take this chain though, because this chain makes enemy attacks, creature attacks also purge enemy ethers, and obviously this just slots into our strategy. Exploring a bit of the environment, and effectively trying to find as many like fights and possibilities for experience as we can get. Also, these like charts that we collect here on the way is effectively the meta progression, which allows us to improve in the hub location later on. So, first fight with a full team. We picked up an ability on our Warden character, the one on the top, that makes him automatically redirect moves to himself at the beginning of a fight. So the first two attacks will automatically be catched by this character now, and also this will make him start with a lot of shield, so effectively we have a tank now for our entire structure. So we can focus on more offensive things while our baseline, like at least for the first round, first two-ish rounds, we have set up defenses already. Yes, and the book here again has an ability that allows us to just steal an enemy from the enemy. So not only do we remove one, we also get it. And here is also, you can see the combination of the like staggering with the burn, so the fire creature has an ability that automatically increases the stagger level of an enemy by 1 if you apply burn to them. And I have something on me now that burns a random enemy every time we purge ether from them. And in combination with the two of them, we will now, every time we purge, we also increase the stagger value of an enemy by 1. The bird has an ability that makes it stronger when you attack him, so ideally you start attacking him the moment you can also kill it. And that's kind of what we did here, right? Kept him for last and then finished him once we could focus on him. Another chain allows us to do more of the thing that we already been doing, and yeah, I think this already sums it up. It's effectively an incremental creature tamer game. You have the ability to grow in power over and over again, and you get randomized, often self-scaling abilities that create crazy combinations. And that's kind of the entire gist of the game, at least from what I've seen so far. Few more words about the active progression on that. Like, as you get through the runs, you unlock new areas, and these new areas will have new creatures. Obviously you can tame these creatures, and then you can use them as your creatures even in the beginning from the on the next so once you have tamed the creature, you just have it for your future runs, effectively adding this to the pool for the creatures that you can get in future. So the usual roguelike progression of adding more random things to your pool is kind of catered for with this element, and adding more creatures to your pool is a really cool way of handling that. And the entire all of these stages escalate in a boss fight, and these boss fights are also obviously creatures similar to the other monster tamer creatures, and you can also capture the bosses. And for example, this warden guy was one of the earlier bosses, and now I can have him in my team. So as the game progresses, you can effectively have all of the different bosses of the game as your squad mates. And the other side of this is obviously this it's more of the combination of a monster tamer game and a roguelike, but it has this setting of an incremental in it, where just everything goes off depending on what you had before. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say in this. Check it out if you're interested in that, and another cool game you can add to the list. Have a good one.